Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to the continuation of my reviews for the Jason films. Now we are getting on to the second film that New Line Cinema did for the Jason franchise, and it's a film that gets hated on a lot, and surprisingly enough, back when I had my old channel, my very first channel, this was actually the very first movie review I ever reviewed on YouTube. It was actually my very first, back on my old first channel, this was actually the very first film I ever reviewed ever on YouTube. So, and then I re-reviewed it again when I did the Jason film, was back on my old channel. But now we're going to revisit the film again. And I have a lot of fun with this movie. I know I'm probably one of the minorities in enjoying this movie, but I have a lot of fun with the film. Jason X. Now, Jason X was released in 2002. This time directed by Jim Isaac, who unfortunately is no longer with us anymore, sadly. But basically with this film, what happened was with this film, New Line Cinema, basically what Freddy vs. Jason was still pretty much having trouble getting through and getting done. Because, like, for many years, like, I remember back in Part 7, when Paramount still owned the Jason films before they sold the rights to New Line Cinema, basically, in Part 7, they wanted to do a Freddy vs. Jason back in the 80s, but New Line Cinema and Paramount couldn't really get a deal going, so then that's why they did Jason vs. Carrie, like Tina. So that's why they did that. And then when Jason Goes to Hell came out, the ending set up for Freddy vs. Jason because of the Freddy Krueger glove and things like that. So basically, what happened was they still couldn't really get anything going with Freddy vs. Jason, which was released a year after this. So then they decided just to enter another, a futuristic kind of like movie for Jason, and hence that's why you get Jason X, which is basically Jason in outer space. And now this time, actually this is the very last time Kane Hodder gets to play Jason. It's the last time you get to see Kane Hodder as Jason. Once again, he does a great job. And basically what happens is in the very beginning, Jason he's being kept by these government guys, and Jason ends up escaping and killing the government guys and goes after the one woman, Rowan, and basically she traps him in like this like machine that like freezes him, and he stabs her through the machine, and then she starts freezing as well. But the thing is, she was frozen before she died, so they could bring. So basically, it jumps into the future in the year 2455, and you see a bunch of these kids going on like some sort of like field trip in space, and they find Rowan, and they find Jason, and they bring them back on the ship. But they said they could bring back Rowan because she was frozen before she died, so they can bring her back. But Jason is totally screwed, or so they think. So then they bring him back on the ship, they revive Rowan, and then Jason comes back to life and starts killing everybody on the ship. And that's pretty much what it's about. Now, I think this film is fun. I think it's a really fun movie. I know I'm probably in the minority of thinking that, but I think this is I like this better than Part 9, just because it was good to see Jason himself back on screen as the antagonist once again, just because I like the character of Jason. And there's some fun stuff in this. There's some fun bits of humor, like there's especially this one part when Jason stabs this guy, and then he stabs the guy, and then he says it's gonna take more than to bring down this old dog. So then Jason stabs him again. He's like, yeah, that'll do it. And then you have another moment where the guy goes, "It's okay, guys. He just wanted his machete back." So like, there's some fun bits of humor in this movie. And then, of course, the whole idea, like the marketing with the Uber Jason, which I know a lot of people were quite disappointed with, because like this cover kind of makes it look like he's going to be like Uber Jason, but he doesn't really appear as Uber Jason until like the last like 20 minutes of the movie, because basically what happens is that there's this girl KM who's like an android who pretty much kicks his ass pretty much on the ship, and he gets dragged into like this machine that like revives him and things like that. Then he comes back as Uber Jason, which I think is a pretty cool design. I like the design of Uber Jason, and also too, another really great death scene in here is when Jason first comes back to life. The girl that's working on him, he grabs her from behind and starts like dragging her around and things like that. Then he dips her face in some sort of like hydrogen peroxide or something like that. Like it causes her face to freeze. I don't know the exact term of what it is, but and basically he smashes her face on the desk and her face shatters and there's blood. So that's a really cool death. And there's just like some random bits of funny moments in this that I mentioned before. And of course the whole ending where Peter Mensa, who's like one of the main guys on the ship, I think he's like the captain or something like that, goes after Jason at the very end. He's like riding through him in space and things like that. But I think this film is fun. I mean, there's a point where these two guys are playing this like virtual reality game, and Jason shows up and they think he's part of the game, but he's not. Jason kills them, things like that. But overall, I think this film is a lot of fun. I think this film has some fun moments. It's got funny bits of humor that I thought was pretty funny. It was cool to see Kane Hodder one last time as Jason. Sadly, it was the last time he got to play Jason. I feel like he deserved to play Jason in Freddy vs. Jason, but I'll get to that when I review that. But I like the cast. I like Lexa Doig, who was Rowan. Jim Isaac did a solid job directing this. Sean S. Cunningham was also an executive producer on this. Harry Manfredini came back to do the music, which was nice. I like Lisa Ryder, who plays KM. Peter Mensa, who plays the captain guy of the ship. But overall, I think this film is fun. I will say that it's a fun movie. So that is pretty much it for my review for Jason X. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.